We can bring in now our guest, Manfred Weber. He's the chair of the European People's Party. That is the biggest party in the European Parliament that won the elections last June. Manfred Weber, thank you so much for being our guest with us this morning. First question to you, a reaction perhaps to that phone call yesterday between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine. It was called frank. But do you trust President Trump here? Or do you not worry he's being played perhaps by the Kremlin?
Well, the result is that there is no ceasefire. That's a result at this moment of time. There is no final agreement, and we don't know what really will happen in the next upcoming days on the battleground. And you can really see that Zelensky, the Ukrainians, are ready to go for peace, and Putin is playing. He wants to win time. He wants to win on the battleground. That's a reality. He has no interest to stop the war. Now, also the American administration is now arriving in this reality that the war is not easy to be stopped because Putin has a clear plan, and that means to really conquer, to really occupy Ukraine, to think again in this old model of zone of influence, of occupying, of really attacking other countries, independent countries. We thought that in the European Union of today, after the Second World War, we thought that this is over, that this thinking is over. No, Putin brought it back, this imperialistic thinking. And that's a reality. And now with the message of yesterday that Putin is not ready to go for peace, for real peace process, I think that's proof for the rest of the world that he is the enemy.
And of course, President Zelensky of Ukraine will be zooming into that EU summit taking place today. But the Europeans are not around the table of these talks. Should we have a Ukrainian envoy, perhaps yourself?
Well, absolutely. Europe and Ukraine must be on the table, and America must understand there will be no agreement at all without the country of Ukraine. It's a sovereign country. They have their president, they have their parliament, they have national unity in defending themselves and their values, democracy and freedom. So that's why it's unthinkable that this will happen. And I tell you that Europe now must speed up. What we are doing as European People's Party, Ursula von der Leyen as Commission President from our party, but also others in the team, also on the council level, is exactly to give now the proof that Europe can do his task and can deliver its obligations.
The plan of the summit is all about rearming Europe, Mr. Weber, but who will pay for this rearming? Will we see the disappearance of our social welfare state and instead money being invested in arms and tanks?
The current proposal is exactly not to do this. The current plan is really to do on national level the necessary investments in our national armies. And what I want to say is that we would save a lot of money if we would do things together. That's why the main initiative is now common procurement, do things together, invest in Europe, buy European. And we need some flagship projects where people immediately understand that as Europeans together, we are better protected. Look for cyber defense, where everybody understands that there is no national border anymore, or a missile defense system, a drones defense system. Let's do this on the Polish-Belarusian border for all Europe. Then we are better protected if we do it together. These kind of joint investments would make things cheaper, and European business, European companies would benefit from this. That's what is now at stake.
That's your message. In Germany, of course, it's lifted its historic debt brake. Why didn't it do this earlier?
Well, we had elections. Now we have a new government. The new government is having coalition talks, and they come to the conclusion that now investments are needed. I think the German signal is a signal for the rest of Europe, for all of us, to do it in the same way. On the other hand, I have to underline a lot of new debts means also a lot of responsibility for the next generation when it is about competitiveness. We can only pay the debt rate, we can only pay the interest rates for the future if we have a strong economy. That's why today's council is also dealing with competitiveness, a second main promise from my party, from the European People's Party, to the voters last year, that we make Europe competitive again. We will re-strengthen our industry with less bureaucracy, also with the message of creating a better single market, and also with the message that we have to trade. So Mercosur, for example, an agreement with South America is fundamental and symbolic for this.
And you mentioned the German elections. You have your own election coming up in a few weeks as well in Valencia. You're set to be elected again chair, but do you have the support of everyone in your party?
You never know in politics, but until now I don't have a competitor. And 3 years ago, when we were in Rotterdam together as European People's Party, we only had 6 prime ministers and little influence in Europe. Today we are the strongest party of Europe. We have 14 commissioners. Half of the team is EPP in the Commission, and in the Parliament we are the strongest group, the only group in the centre who won seats in the last elections. So we are confident as EPP, but this goes hand in hand with responsibility, and that's why defence, competitiveness, people can trust we deliver.